The snow fell softly outside the old Victorian house in Madison, Wisconsin, blanketing the world in a deceptive peace as our family gathered around the Christmas dinner table for the first time in years. I, Emily Thompson, sat there with a forced smile, my fingers tracing the edge of my wine glass, thinking this might finally be the moment we rebuilt what had been broken. But then my mother, Margaret, raised her glass with a steady hand, her eyes cold as the winter night. "Emily," she said, her voice slicing through the holiday cheer like a hidden blade. "Don't come back for Christmas anymore. We'll act like we don't know you." The words hung in the air, heavy and final, as my brother James and sister Sophia exchanged knowing glances, their faces masks of feigned sympathy. Laughter bubbled up from my throat, bitter and unbelieving. But inside, something snapped, a quiet rage that had been simmering for 5 long years. They thought this ambush would break me, send me slinking away in defeat. They didn't know I'd been gathering the pieces of their treachery, piece by piece, ready to turn their plot against them. This wasn't just rejection, it was the culmination of a calculated betrayal. And I was done being the silent victim. 5 years earlier, at 35, I had everything mapped out in my New York City law firm, senior associate on track for partner, a sleek apartment overlooking Central Park, and a network of colleagues who respected my sharp mind and relentless drive. Life was a series of wins, each case a step up the ladder. Then came the call that shattered it all, Dad's sudden stroke while shoveling snow in the driveway of our family home. Margaret's voice on the phone was a fragile whisper. The iron-willed woman who'd raised us through blizzards and hardships now crumbling. "I can't face this alone," she pleaded. And those words pulled me under like a riptide. The house in Madison was a relic of our lineage, built by my great-grandparents in the late 1800s. Its wraparound porch and creaking oak floors echoing with generations of Thompson stories. Dad had dreamed of retiring there, restoring the antique moldings himself. But now his workbench sat idle in the garage, tools rusting under dust cloths. Mom roamed the halls like a shadow, calling out for him in her sleep, her grief manifesting in panic attacks that shook her to the core. James, my older brother at 42, jetted in from Chicago for the funeral, his tailored suit and Rolex gleaming under the funeral home lights as he spoke eloquently about Dad's work ethic. As a hedge fund manager, he commanded boardrooms and 7-figure deals, but he lingered only 2 days before his unavoidable flights whisked him back. "Markets don't grieve," he said with a pat on my back, his eyes already distant. Sophia, 39, came from Portland, where she ran a boutique graphic design studio, her life filled with client deadlines and her husband's tech startup. She stayed a week, helping sort Dad's clothes, but then packed up with apologies about her team's projects. "I wish I could do more," she murmured, hugging me goodbye, promising video calls that would grow sporadic. And so, the weight fell on me. I drafted my resignation on a rainy afternoon, my boss staring at me like I'd lost my mind. "You're flushing a decade of billable hours down the drain," he warned. "Hire in-home care, your mom can afford it." But no stranger could navigate Mom's midnight terrors, when she'd clutch at ghosts, or sort through Dad's letters with the tenderness of shared history. No agency could decode her moments of confusion, when she'd accuse the walls of stealing her memories. I sold my apartment, boxed up my life, and returned to my childhood bedroom in Madison, where the faded wallpaper still bore the scars of my teenage posters. My power suits hung limply in the closet next to old high school relics, and nights were spent listening to Mom's footsteps above, a constant reminder of the life I'd submerged. The town whispered praises, "Such a devoted daughter." Margaret's blessed, but their words rang hollow against my growing isolation. James called quarterly, his updates laced with stock tips and boasts about his latest bonus. Sophia managed bi-weekly texts, sandwiched between design mocks and family outings. They thanked me for holding the line, as if I were a temporary guard, not the one watching Mom's spirit fray while my own ambitions withered in silence. I endured the good days, when Mom would brew tea and recount Dad's proposal under the old oak tree, and the brutal ones, when she'd lash out, claiming I'd hidden Dad's favorite watch or trapped her in this cursed house. Through it all, doctor visits, prescription tweaks, endless nights of her tears soaking my shoulder, I stayed, believing sacrifice was the price of love. But invisibility crept in. A slow poison, friends faded, opportunities vanished, and I began to question if nobility always tasted like ashes. If I'd foreseen the venom brewing that Christmas, the web of deceit spun in shadows, I might have armored myself sooner. Or perhaps I'd have walked the same path. Because betrayal forges clarity in fire, and some wounds demand retribution born from the heart's deepest scars. Rebecca Sinclair arrived in late September, pulling up in a sleek BMW with designer luggage and a smile that promised warmth but delivered calculation. Mom had vaguely mentioned her old sorority sister might visit, but I wasn't prepared for the polished widow who emerged. Her platinum bob impeccable, her outfit screaming quiet luxury. "Margaret, my dear," she cooed, embracing Mom with theatrical affection before turning to me. "And you must be Emily, your mother's lifeline." Her grip was firm, her gaze appraising, as if weighing my worth in ounces. Over coffee that first day, Rebecca sighed dramatically. "I've been so concerned since Thomas passed. This grand old house, just you two rattling around, it must drain you." Her eyes flicked to me, the word drain lingering like an accusation masked as empathy. Mom blossomed under Rebecca's attention, laughing at inside jokes from their college days, her face alive in ways I hadn't seen since Dad. Rebecca, widowed 4 years prior, claimed her late husband left her secure, and now she gave back by aiding old friends. She settled into the guest suite just for a bit, her belongings multiplying like an invasion. Until the space felt claimed, subtle shifts began, eroding like autumn rain on stone. Rebecca rearranged the den for better flow, suggested modernizing the outdated kitchen, questioned keeping Dad's dusty book collection. "This property's a goldmine," she mused one evening, leafing through a luxury real estate catalog. "Madison's exploding, historical charm, acreage, proximity to the university. Sell high, buy a sleek condo downtown. No upkeep, maybe even senior amenities." Mom, who'd once vowed to die in this house, now nodded thoughtfully. "It might be time to let go of the ghosts." "Mom, this is our roots," I protested softly. Rebecca cut in smoothly. "Roots can strangle growth. Emily, we must prioritize what's realistic now." James called unexpectedly animated that weekend. "Rebecca sounds like a godsend. Mom raves about her. Maybe you can breathe again. Get back to law." "This is my reality," I replied. But his tone dripped condescension. "At 35? Come on. Life's passing you by." Sophia echoed in her next email. "Rebecca's emails are so thoughtful. She's all about Mom's best interests. Let's hear her out on the house. Since when did they care?" But Rebecca's tendrils spread, turning allies into echoes of her agenda. Alone, her barb sharpened, wrapped in faux concern. "You seem worn thin, dear. All this giving. And what do you get? Your firm filled your spot with a fresh grad. Time waits for no one." She tagged along to Mom's appointments, jotting notes on capacity tests, murmuring about preparing for decline. Mom started parroting her. "Maybe I'm a burden. Emily deserves her own path." One evening, I caught Rebecca in Dad's study, snapping photos of his antiques. Inventory for value, she claimed. But her phone screen flashed, appraiser confirmed, Margaret rests at 3 p.m. Suspicion rooted deep. Thorny and unshakable. This wasn't aid, it was orchestration. A slow siege on our sanctuary. And as my siblings warmed to her glow, I faded into doubt, questioning my sanity in the growing isolation. October's chill deepened the divide. Rebecca morphing into the ideal companion mom craved effortless, unburdened by history's weight. Emily's tense lately, I overheard her tell Mom. Caregiving breeds bitterness. Mom's reply stung. She's been snappish, perhaps space would help. Snappish? I'd swallowed retorts as Rebecca adjusted Mom's pills, pushed legal talks on guardianship, invaded our quiet routines. Voicing it made me seem jealous. Territorial, the perfect villain in her script. James's Thanksgiving call set the tone. Rebecca says you're resistant. She's investing real effort, new rugs. Fix the leaky faucet. Be appreciative. She's an outsider, I shot back. Outsider? You're squatting rent-free while she contributes. Sophia's messages turned accusatory. Rebecca mentioned you leaving Mom unsupervised risky. If it's too much. Admit it. Unsupervised? Errands for essentials. Yet twisted into neglect. The pinnacle struck in November. Rebecca arranged a routine estate review, scheduling it during my long-overdue dental checkup. Prioritize yourself, she urged sweetly. They returned with Mom dazed, rubbing her forehead, echoing Rebecca's every word. I found the pill sorter tampered, sedatives doubled. Slots swapped. Doctor's orders, Rebecca lied, waving a forged note. Confrontation painted me as controlling. Mom siding, why fight help? Siblings bypass me for updates, sending burnout articles, whispering concerns. Rebecca's journal chronicled my instability, priming for escalation. Meanwhile, Mom softened into compliance. Her will eroded not by age, but by chemistry, a deliberate dimming of her fire. The week before Christmas. Eavesdropping revealed the core, Rebecca on a call in the study. Listing post-holidays. Equals split minus my cut. Emily's isolated, no fight left. Frozen. I grasped the erasure, not just the house, but me. Recast as the obstacle. But she'd underestimated the quiet fury of the overlooked. I dialed an old law school contact, now a specialist in elder law, Laura. It's Emily. How versed are you in exploitation schemes? The pre-Christmas days became a covert war, my legal instincts awakening from dormancy. Laura arrived from Boston with gadgets and grit, her own family scarred by similar fraud. Evidence first, she instructed. One-party consent here, install cams legally. During Rebecca's spa outing, we wired the common areas. Feeds streaming to Laura's secure cloud. Recordings poured in, Rebecca to James. Sedative keeps her pliant, sign the deed today. Emily suspects nothing. James, handle her meltdown, she'll seem unhinged. Another, Rebecca coaching Mom. Emily's stressed. Sees threats everywhere. Remember. She's unwell. Neighbor misses. Ellis tipped me, saw appraisers while you shopped, Margaret napped through it. Her son. A realtor. Confirmed, private listing. Rebecca as contact. Laura built the dossier relentlessly, blood tests proving overdosing. Forged scripts. Emails tracing the plot back months. James met Rebecca at a finance summit. Lured by quick cash. An independent MD evaluated Mom sans sedatives, competent, but drugged into fog. The capstone, Rebecca's call. 2.8 million cash. Emily gets zilch, new trust cuts her. Undue influence. Conspiracy. Abuse, all provable. Christmas Eve. Laura filed emergencies, freezes, reviews. Charges. Wait for the toast, she said. They're planning a reveal. Make it yours. Staring in the mirror. Lines etched by years of unseen toil. I felt steel forge within. They saw weakness. I'd show reckoning. Christmas dawned crisp. Rebecca orchestrating breakfast in Mom's apron. A mocking claim. James arrived in luxury. Nodding curtly, Sophia fidgety. Avoiding eyes. I played compliant. Swapping Mom's pills for proper ones covertly. Doctor tweaked it. I lied smoothly as Rebecca's gaze narrowed. The morning dragged in strained civility, market banter. Photo shares, Mom clearer. Less pliable. Gift time arrived. James cleared his throat. Before presents. Rebecca and I have news. I hit record discreetly. Rebecca stood possessively. Margaret needs structured care. Emily's strain shows in her paranoia. Strain? I interjected calmly. Like your tampered meds? Silence exploded. Rebecca, nonsense. I played the clip, her admitting fraud. James blanched. Illegal recording. Legal here, I countered. Laura explained thoroughly. She's outside with the MD and officer. Opening the door. Laura entered with Dr. Hale and the bailiff. The room tilting. MS. Sinclair. Restraining order. Vacate now. Rebecca protested. Laura laid out evidence. Videos. Labs. Emails. James shook reading his charges. Sophia wept. Mom. Eyes sharpening. Confronted. You poisoned me? Rebecca's mask shattered. For your good. But Mom commanded. Out. As Rebecca packed under watch. Revelations cascaded. Emails of James plotting cuts. Rebecca's recordings blackmailing him over embezzlement. Dr. Hale. Chemical coercion. Classic abuse. Sophia confessed. She fed my guilt. Twisted everything. The final blow. Fire aimed to raise for developments. Mom's fury peaked. Our legacy for greed? James was escorted. Sophia banished temporarily. With debris settling. Laura revealed Rebecca's history. Prior suspicions in husband's heart failure, elderly marks in Vegas and Miami, serial hunter. Mom whispered horror. She'd have killed me next. Rebecca's parting venom. You're chained to martyrdom. Your old firm wants you back. Partner track. But you'll rot here. Truth hit. She'd probed my options. Mocking my chains. Mom knelt. No more sacrifice. We'll hire aides. You reclaim life. Dr. Hale offered plans. Laura alternatives. I want balance, I admitted. Not escape. But choice. Months later. In my Boston office, flexible role. Weekends home. I drove to Madison not from duty. But desire. Mom thrived with aides. Book clubs blooming her spirit. James served probation. Disgraced, Sophia rebuilt trust slowly. Rebecca got 15 years. Her trail exposed. The house endured. A bastion of chosen bonds. We'd paid dearly, silence shattered. Betrayals bared, but emerged whole. Understanding love's cost isn't erasure, but the grit to claim one's worth amid ruins.